In just 15 minutes, we're going to cover everything you need to know about Universal Studios Florida to jumpstart your trip to this mega park. From its state-of-the-art rides, to its innovative food offerings, to its up-and-coming attractions, and more. And you're getting this all today here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. We are back at Universal today to help you learn all the Universal Studios Florida basics, including what's available, what's new, what's coming, and what you need to watch out for when you head this way for vacation. All right, so what does Universal Studios Florida actually consist of? Well, Universal Studios is only one of the world-class theme parks that make up the Universal Orlando property. This flagship park was originally designed to give you a look behind the scenes of film and television sets, kind of like the Universal Studios out in Hollywood, minus the detailed backlot tour. In Universal Studios Florida, you'll be able to walk through several different areas. Over in New York, you're going to find two major park attractions, Jimmy Fallon and the Race Through New York and the Revenge of the Mummy. Production Central is home to the Rip Ride Rocket Coaster, Transformers The Ride 3D, and the Universal Music Plaza Amphitheater, where major concerts are held periodically, featuring big-name artists and acts. San Francisco drops us into the world of Fast and Furious during the Fast and Furious Supercharged Simulator ride. But if you're not feeling like a car chase, maybe you'd rather book a reservation at Lombard's Seafood Grill instead? The Wizarding World of Harry Potter Diagon Alley gives muggles and wizards alike the chance to walk into this magical realm to purchase their own wand at Ollivander's, battle a dragon, and perhaps make a deposit over at Gringotts Bank, and indulge in a butterbeer ice cream or two or three. The biggest part of the World Expo area in this park is the classic blaster ride, Men in Black Alien Attack. That being said, World Expo does pick up around the fall season when Halloween's in full swing. Lots of spooks and scares start to pop up around these parts during Halloween Horror Nights, which we're going to talk about more in just a second. Springfield, USA is the home of The Simpsons, so expect to find the popular Simpsons ride here, as well as Kang and Kodo's Twirl and Hurl, which is going to spin you around and around and around. Now, Hollywood's got a couple of live action shows, fitting, right? As well as the broadcast-themed quick service, the Today Cafe. Near this area, you can also find my favorite ride of the entire park, the E.T. Adventure, We Love You E.T. And the brand new Minions Land, which opened up just this past summer, features the Despicable Me Minion Mayhem attraction and Super Silly Stuff store, as well as the shiny new Illuminations VillainCon Minion Blast attraction. Minions Cafe is here, Pop-A-Nana popcorn stand, Freeze Ray popsicle stand, Bake My Day sweets shop, and an Illumination theater facade for character meet and greets. So we just talked about what's new over there in Minion Land, but what's coming up this summer? A new DreamWorks Land will arrive at Universal Studios Florida in 2024. DreamWorks Land will be a vivid world featuring characters, rides, and themed areas from some of DreamWorks' most beloved movies like Shrek, Trolls, Kung Fu Panda. The Shrek area is going to take you into the recesses of Shrek's swamp, which will include interesting snacks. You ever heard of a Shrexel before? Well, okay, now we both have. Interactive frog choirs and meet and greets with Shrek, Princess Fiona, and Donkey. There will also be a little ogre-sized play area for kids. Meanwhile, in the Trolls area, you're going to be able to ride the family-friendly Troller Coaster. Get it? Oh my goodness, which takes you on the Catter Bus to escape evil spiders. Again, expect more play areas, gift shops, and snack opportunities here too. Then we got Poe's Kung Fu Training Camp with an interactive experience that brings Panda Village to life for all its visitors. Now you thought you were done? Not quite. This new area is also going to have the DreamWorks Imagination Celebration, which will be a multi-sensory adventure that combines hit songs and dancing and tech to create a rockin' party for everyone to be a part of. You'll also get to meet some of your favorite DreamWorks characters at the DreamWorks Character Zone. Okay, so this might be a totally different park, the Universal Studios Florida, but you still need to know how it's going to impact your Universal Studios Florida visits in the future. In 2025, Universal Orlando will be opening Epic Universe, which will more than double the size of Universal Orlando with a third park gate and new hotels, 3 of them, to stay in. The Epic Universe park will be made up of 5 themed lands: Celestial Park, Wizarding World of Harry Potter Ministry of Magic, Super Nintendo World, How to Train Your Dragon, Isle of Berk, and Dark Universe, aka an area filled with Universal movie monsters right out of those classic horror films that used to scare the pants right off ya. Now, while Epic Universe is going to be part of the whole Universal Orlando area, it won't be attached to Universal Orlando's existing theme parks. It's going to be located closer to the Orange County Convention Center, about 2 miles from Universal Orlando Resort. To get to Epic Universe, you won't want to park at the main parking garages by Universal's other theme parks, which I'm going to talk more about later on. Instead, you'll want to drive directly to where the new park is going to be located. Universal's confirmed that there will be free transportation connecting the entire Universal Orlando Resort destination, which sounds like how Disney World takes you from park to park around their property. But we're going to make sure to let you know all the details once we hear more. Now, let's talk about skipping the lines. We are getting into the nitty-gritty now. Much like Disney has Genie Plus, Universal's got Express Passes that can help you bypass the lines of most all rides across both theme parks. But here are some key things you need to know about this service before you commit to purchasing it. Let's rip the Band-Aid off first. The price tag is not pretty. Universal's Express Pass, which only lets you skip over the standby line of each ride once, ranges from $79.99 to $289.99 per person per day. Meanwhile, Universal Express Unlimited, which lets you skip over the standby lines as many times as you want, ranges from $109.99 to $319.99 per person per day. Now, the price depends on the day and time of year you'll be going, but even the lower end of the scale is way higher than Disney World's Genie Plus system. That being said, Express Passes, in our experience, seem to be much easier to use than the Genie Plus system. Instead of having to book a return time for each ride, you just walk up to the ride you want to skip the line for and you do it. As long as you have your Express Pass with you, you'll be good to enter into the Express Pass line. You also don't need to worry about the Express line selling out halfway through the day, unlike Genie Plus's system where certain lightning lanes are liable to book up solid on busier days. Just keep in mind that Express Passes work on every ride in Universal Studios Florida. Side note here, they don't work on every ride at Island of Adventure, just a heads up. But Express Passes are not always necessary if you're not planning on visiting during those peak season times, like spring break, for instance. That being said, if you're going to be staying at one of Universal's premier hotels, like Loews Royal Pacific, Loews Portofino Bay, and Hard Rock Hotel, you'll receive a major perk of free Universal Express Unlimited passes for everyone in your room. That's right, you can either pay out of pocket for an Express Unlimited pass for around $320, or you can stay in a premier hotel room and get unlimited Express passes for the whole family for the same price per person. So I feel like the hotel room is the way to go. Yeah. Now, it's also worth noting that all the Universal hotels are also offering up complimentary transportation to the parks, either by shuttle or boat, though you can walk to the parks from these hotel locations too. It just takes 15-20 minutes. All Universal hotels also have the ability to let you into the Universal parks 1 hour before they open to the general public, thanks to the early admissions benefit. For hotel guests, this benefit isn't always available, so you'll want to check the Universal Orlando calendar online to see when you'll be able to use it. Also, keep in mind that the entirety of the Universal parks will not open an hour early for you when this benefit is available. For studios, you'll typically only be able to access the Wizarding World section during early admission time. So just a quick side note, even though I know we only have 15 minutes, I think the Universal Express Passes are a really, really, really good deal, especially on those super busy days. And staying in the hotel and getting those passes for everyone in your room is an even better deal. So Genie Plus is cheaper, but there's also lots of people that buy it and that stuff sells out. I actually like the whole concept of paying a higher price point, but being able to ride everything without a hassle. The only way you get that at Disney is by paying thousands and thousands of dollars for a VIP tour. So I am happy to just pay, $250, $300 or whatever to get on every single ride I want to ride that day, period, with no line. Is that always the way to go? No, of course not. If your budget does not stretch to that, don't do it, obviously. But if you're planning ahead and you're saving for a couple of years for this trip, this is definitely something that I would slot into that budget if you can. Okay, fasten your seatbelts and pull down those safety harnesses, friends, because Universal Studios Florida is about to give you an adrenaline rush. The majority of Universal's rides can be placed in one of three categories: roller coaster, screen-based, or roller coaster and screen-based. Looking at you, Escape from Gringotts. Of course, there are a few rides here that break the mold. Shout out to my buddy E.T. again. But if you're a coaster or thrill rider enthusiast, then fantastic, because Universal Studios Florida is going to be right up your alley. But if you're traveling with younger kids or those with motion sickness sensitivities, then a forewarning for you, your ride options will be limited. It's a good idea to study up on height requirements for various attractions so your younger kids aren't disappointed during their park day if they're not yet tall enough to go on a ride. And bring those motion sickness meds if you are even the slightest bit inclined to motion sickness, because those back-to-back screen rides and coasters start to get to ya. If you need them, you can also pick up single doses of over-the-counter medication at the park's first aid location located at Family Services near the Studio Audience Center by the park's entrance. 'Tis the season to go to Universal Studios Florida. So Universal Studios has its own way of celebrating holidays throughout the year. Toward the beginning of February and lasting until the beginning of April, Universal Studios Florida hosts Universal Mardi Gras International Flavors of Carnival, which features an incredibly themed tribute store, globally inspired food, and the can't-miss Mardi Gras parade. Totally family friendly, so don't worry about collecting as many beads as you can. In the fall, around the beginning of September until the end of October, Universal Studios Florida also hosts a separately ticketed event called Halloween Horror Nights, where you'll have to explore highly themed haunted houses and scare zones all night long. Well, at least until the event wraps up, which is usually around 2 a.m. So get ready for a long night of scares. 2 important things you need to know about Halloween Horror Nights. 1, this really isn't a kid-friendly event. The scares in these haunted houses and scare zones are legit, and Universal does not recommend them for anyone under the age of 13. And 2, if you're visiting Universal Studios Florida on a night when this after-hours event is happening, the park will close as early as 5 p.m. to get ready for the event's kickoff at 6:30. So you may want to schedule your visit on a different day or invest in a park-to-park ticket so you can spend the remainder of your evening at Islands of Adventure instead. And if you're visiting this park around Christmas time, Universal Studios Florida also celebrates the holiday season with their very own holiday parade featuring Macy's. So yeah, this is basically a mini version of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, minus all of the New York City traffic. So how are we doing on time? Still good? Awesome. Then I have just enough time to throw this QR code up on the screen, let you know that I've got a free Universal Orlando quick guide that you can download if you're looking for these basic tips, plus recommendations, full ride guides, and itinerary suggestions. It'll all be in the palm of your hand. You can also head to disneyfoodblog.com/universal, and it'll lead you to the exact same download. Just drop us your name and email. We'll get this guide sent to your inbox faster than a Gringotts dragon chasing after a mine car. If you know, you know. Moving on, if you are not staying at a nearby Universal hotel, then you're going to have to drive or take a ride share over to the Universal parking garage. Now, this garage does cost $30 per vehicle for the whole day, though if you come here after 6 p.m. to eat dinner at City Walk, parking is free. Now, parking in this garage isn't the most challenging part about arriving at Universal. It's getting to the parks after you get out of the car that becomes the real time commitment here. Once you park, you'll have to walk over to the security checkpoint, get scanned, and then keep walking until you reach the City Walk area. And then you have to walk through the length of City Walk before you finally arrive at the front gate of either park. The whole process reminds me of a layover flight arriving at a giant airport only for you to discover that your connecting flight is in a completely different terminal. So if you're wanting to get to either Universal Park right at park opening, make sure to factor that extra travel time into your itinerary. Maybe give yourself an extra 30 to 45 minutes just in case the security area gets wildly congested in the morning. Now, recently, Bria, Cassie, Quincy from All Ears, and I went and ate around the Universal parks together. If you haven't seen our Best Things to Eat at Universal video yet, make sure to check that out when you get the chance. Now, while we did try our fair share of unique and tasty treats at Universal Studios, like the swirled soft serve from Florian Fortescue's in Diagon Alley, the wacky creations over at Minions Cafe and Minions Land, and the fruit stuffed crepes over at the Central Park Crepes in Hollywood, I will say that a lot of Universal's food relies more on the novelty of the item rather than being this amazingly delicious plate of food. That's not to say you won't find food worth falling in love with here, but it may take you a little more research to find out which desserts and savory eats are actually going to be worth your money. Trying to find a table service meal inside the Universal Studios park where you can sit back, embrace the AC, and enjoy a hearty plate of food? Finnegan's Bar and Grill is going to give you your Irish pub fix and might also feature some live music during the day too. Lombard's Seafood Grill is a classy little seafood establishment that sits right next to the Universal Lake in the middle of the park. Both of these sit-down meals have decent food, decent atmosphere, and good service. Are they my all-time favorite places to eat ever? Not really. I'd much prefer grabbing a jacket potato from the London Taxi Hut outside King's Cross Station, aka the area that leads into Diagon Alley. That being said, if you want to make a dining reservation for either of these locations, it's super easy and painless. You'll just go on the Universal Orlando app, Tap the Universal map, select the restaurant you want to make reservations for, and follow the steps from there. If you visit Universal during one of those seasonal events I was talking about, they tend to have some pretty top-notch exclusive eats that you'll want to check out. But it also might be worth leaving the parks when you want to grab a bite to eat, since City Walk has lots of table service restaurants and fast food joints for you to choose from, like Toothsome Chocolate Emporium, Bubblegum Shrimp Company, Margaritaville, Cowfish, Voodoo Donuts, and more. Along with all the rides and restaurants, do not forget to check out Universal Studios live entertainment while you're here. Remember the shows I very briefly mentioned that happen over in the Hollywood area? These iconic stage shows include Universal Orlando's Horror Makeup Show, the Bourne Stuntacular, and animal actors on location. You'll be able to see different Streetmosphere performances throughout the day, including, but not limited to, the Blues Brothers, the Tales of Beetle the Bard, and Celestina Warbeck and the Banshees. There are also a handful of opportunities to meet TV and movie characters throughout the day too, but these character sightings won't always be listed in the Universal Orlando app, meaning it's up to you to keep your eye out for them. You can also ask a nearby Universal team member if they happen to know when a certain character will be out and about. They may not know the exact answer, but they could help you get an idea of when and where to return to a specific location, so you can potentially run into one of your favorite pals. Okay, Potterheads, listen up. If you want to ride the Hogwarts Express from either Hogsmeade or Diagon Alley, then you must purchase the park-to-park ticket, which grants entrance into both Universal Studios and Islands of Adventure on the same day. If you only have a 1 park per day ticket, then you're not going to be able to hop aboard this train, since it directly connects Hogsmeade Station at Islands of Adventure with King's Cross Station at Universal Studios. So really, it's less of an attraction and more of a way to get you to the second park without having to walk all the way over there yourself. But even so, the Hogwarts Express does have fun features that you'll experience during your short train ride to the other Wizarding World. And by the way, it's different both ways, so you may want to ride it back and forth. Now, before you can hop onto one of Universal Studios coasters, you will be required to use one of the attraction's lockers to store your stuff. Lockers is the name of the game when it comes to Universal. The standard size lockers are totally free to use, which can easily fit small purses, wands, wallets, and cell phones. But if you're trying to put away a full-size stuffed to the brim backpack, you're more than likely going to have to invest in a large locker, which will cost you $2 per use. In some cases, you'll still be able to keep select items with you on these rides, just as long as you safely store these items in your pocket or a small fanny pack tucked under your shirt. But then there are rides like Hollywood Rip Ride Rocket, which follow a no loose items policy. You'll even have to go through a metal detector so team members can make sure you're not holding onto anything that could potentially fly off of you during the duration of the ride. In these instances, it's incredibly helpful to have a lanyard handy, which will hold onto your park tickets, locker cards, hotel keys, or whatever you use to open your ride's locker with. Lanyards can still be worn on these rides, but must be tucked inside your shirt. Now, before you take off on your Universal journey, make sure to download the free Universal Orlando app before your trip. Through this app, you can check out park maps, mobile order food, get notified about wait times, and track down different dining locations. But one of my personal favorite pre-visit features on this app is the ability to mark or heart your must-see attractions. When you've got time, you can go through and select the rides you're most excited to experience on vacation. Then once you're actually inside the park, you can access that list and see the wait times pop right up next to your anticipated favorites. All right, it was touch and go there for a minute because there's so much to talk about in the Universal Studios scene, but we made it. Remember, we've got Universal Orlando content coming out regularly here at DFB Guide, so check out our Universal planning videos already up on our channel. And don't forget to go to disneyfoodblog.com/universal and pick up your free Universal Quick Guide today. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.